Hello, welcome to Wargamer. I'm your host, Rob. And if you've got a bone to pick with the current Ossiarch Bonereaper rules, then you're going to be excited because Games Workshop have just released the free additional content that they're doing for their seasonal rules, the Scourge of Ghyran, which is going to coincide with the General's Handbook release probably in about a month's time, which will give you free additional rules for over the course of a year for your Ossiarch Bonereapers, which I personally think is pretty exciting, and I'm going to be reviewing it all in this video. If you like any of these things, or even me talking about it, please do leave some comments below so I can engage with you and find out what you think. And if it gives you a massive boner, don't tell me. Okay, all right, let's get straight to the marrow. No, the heart. No, I don't know. Let's go look at the rules. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to get for Ossiarch Bonereapers as a new update is 2 different battle formations. You're also going to get spell lore as well. It's pretty fun. So 2 different battle formations to add to the 4 that you've got, which is cool. The first one, Tithe Guard, gives you the ability Plentiful Bone, where once per turn across your army in your hero phase, you can pick a friendly, non-unique Ossiarch Bonereapers wizard, so you cannot pick Arman Arcan, to use his ability, then pick up to 3 visible, friendly, non-fly Ossiarch Bonereaper units, which is going to be your Mortch Guard, your Stalkers, your Mortch Guard, and also your Haunces, so you are going to get your Death Riders in there. And as long as they're wholly within 12 inches of the wizard, you're going to roll a d3 for each of those targets. And then you either heal an amount equal to the roll. And if the target is not damaged, return a number of slain models to it with a combined health characteristic equal to less than a roll. So you could return a Death Rider to a unit, but you've got to slam that 5 or 6, 1/3 chance to do it. You could return 2 or 3 Mortch Guard to a unit, which is kind of okay as well. And also, you just being able to heal units as well, I think is good. Just being able to like put some wounds back onto a unit is nice as well. So you are going to be able to do that as well. I don't want to say it's limited because it's up to 9 health back in your army every turn, but you do have to be wholly within 12 inches of this character. And then you still have to make the rolls. So it feels a little bit cheap. To be honest, it feels okay, but probably a little underwhelming. And also, most importantly, doesn't really do much for the army that I want to play. Like if I wanted to theme something a bit more, it doesn't really expand how the army plays. So you can kind of miss me with that one. The next one, the Hekatos Drill Masters, gives you the ability Disciplined Hekatoi, which is once per turn in your army in your hero phase, same as the other ability. You pick a friendly, non-hero, non-fly Ossiarch Bonereaper infantry unit to be the target. Pick one of the following effects to apply until the start of next turn. The target has a 5-up ward save. Add 1 to charge rolls for the target, add 1 to wound rolls to the target, and the target's melee weapons have anti-charge +1 rend. This is quite nice because this lets you double up with, as we were saying in the chat, double up with your core battle traits as well, where you're able to also use your your Relentless Discipline here to do one of these abilities. So now you can double up, or you can, because you normally need to be within range of a hero to do these abilities, you can give them one of these without needing to be in range of a hero to do that, which is quite effective. This is only obviously going to affect Ossiarch Bonereaper's infantry, so this isn't going to help out your Death Riders. It's going to help out your other units. So it feels very much geared towards Mortch Guard, very much geared towards helping them. 5-up ward save is great though. +1 to charge rolls in the right situation is good. +1 to wound, and even anti-charge. So not too bad until the effect also lasts for a long time, until the start of your next turn, which is really, really good. So I would argue that this is the stronger of the 2. It also gives you the most options of the 2, the most utility. Some of these rules updates that we've seen, like we saw with like the Black Coach as an example, and some of the other units, they've given you more like options, or a unit with multiple options. So you as the player can do more things with a unit, which I think is really, really positive. This allows you to do more things with your army. It gives you choices and stuff to do. And actually that's what makes games really fun for me. I know there's a bunch of people out there with very smooth brains who just like to move everything forward in 3d6 charge. I think that's wonderful, and I hope you live a good life. Having a lot of options is really good, and I think this is a nice change. So they're not super sexy, they're not super interesting, but they're fine, and again, a new way to play. Okay, so you're also getting access, or got access, to choosing having a different spell lore, the Law of Necrotheurgy. Now, this means that you are in that kind of great group of armies that have access to 2 different spell lores. The first spell lore, as a quick TLDR, has got the ability to give you crit 5s from Empower Netherite Weapons, cast on a 5. It's got the ability to do mortal damage, especially to large bricks of infantry from Shardstorm, And Drain Vitality, which is cast on 7, got the ability to make a unit -1 to hit and also subtract 1 from saves. The fact that the Empower Netherite weapon, so exploding 5s or crit 5s, is an unlimited spell means it can happen on multiple different units, which probably makes this spell lore slightly more offensive than this new one, which is slightly more defensive. Because the unlimited spell for this army, and they're all cast on 5s as well, which is very good, Bolster Creation. You pick a Bonereaper Wizard to cast it, and then a Bonereaper unit wholly within 12. Till the start of your next turn, you ignore the first damage point allocated to the target in each phase. Now, that's the start of your next turn. Now, of course, when a unit of Guard is fighting twice and they're doing 85 million damage, ignoring the first 1 damage feels a little bit silly. But over the course of time, especially on large models like Catacross as an example, or even your Morghast Archi, who are very survivable, but they have a pretty limited health pool, being able to ignore 1 each phase is effectively plus 1 health each phase. And as we're going to see, there's some healing in here as well. So it really does give you the ability to stack up how much damage you can take and how much healing you can do in the army, which it does feel very limited. But I think over the course of a game, it could really add up. And it's an unlimited spell as well. So multiple ones of my units can be constantly ignoring a little bit of damage in each phase. And a question came up as well. If you took 3 damage, would you ignore 3 damage or would you ignore 1? You'd ignore 1 and then you would still take 2 damage, just to be clear. All right, so the next one, Invigorate Ranks. You pick a friendly Ossiarch Bonereaper Wizard to cast a spell, and then you pick a Bonereaper unit wholly within 12, and you add 1 to the attacks characteristic of the target's melee weapons. Now, that means that you're not really giving up much for Empower Netherite weapons. You can only cast this spell once in your turn, but obviously you can also cast it in the enemy turn, and it lasts until the start of your next turn. Plus, one attack's pretty good. It's basically the same as having crit 5s. That's nice to have inside this army. I'm not mad at it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not mad at that at all. I think it's very good, and it's also cast on a 5, so it's very, very survivable. The last one is quite complex, Soul Claim, but it's done on a 5. Your wizard picks an enemy unit within 18 inches, and then you pick a Bonereaper unit wholly within 12 inches of the wizard who cast it. Then you inflict D3 mortal damage, and it's a good D3 as well. It's not a bad D3, where it's a 2+, it's just D3 mortal damage. And then pick one of the following. You heal 3, or if any models were slain, sorry, you can heal 3 to the friendly target that you picked, or you can return a number of slain models. Now, healing 3 into your army is good, 3 damage into them, that's good. One of your big monsters, one of your multi-wound models like your Morghast as an example, healing. We love that, that's great. If you were to take the battle formation, which I found a little bit underwhelming before, and then you started to stack Bolster Creation and Soul Claim, you could have a unit of Mortch Guard or several more units of Mortch Guard that are ignoring the first pip of damage each turn. You're returning models into them. You're returning models from the battle formation. It doesn't feel or sound particularly like thrilling, but it is a slow, grinding, like inexorable army, which is exactly what the theme for Ossiarch Bonereapers is. So that actually kind of works and it's kind of fun. So I quite like this. I think there's going to be a real raging debate between which one of the two spell laws you're going to choose. But whichever one you pick, I hope you find it humorous. So you also got 2 new war scrolls. These are alternative war scrolls to the ones that are inside your index, which means you can use one or the other in your army list. So you can only have one Ghyran Bone Shaper and another Ghyran Bone Shaper, but you couldn't have a Ghyran Bone Shaper and one from your index at the same time in the army list. Hope that makes sense. Okay, so 2 new unit war scrolls. You got the Bone Shaper and the Mortch Guard. And the Bone Shaper definitely had a massive glow up. 10 points difference for a 5 health, 4 up save, 6 up ward save, 1 cast wizard. It will make a lot of people jealous. Not very good in combat, but it's got 2 amazing abilities, especially with what seems to be the Mortch Guard update. So the first one, the Legion Quartermaster, gives you a passive. Each time a friendly non-hero Ossiarch Bonereaper unit wholly within 12 inches of this unit uses the rally command, you can make 3 additional rally rolls of D6, which means that you're going to make 9 rally rolls, which is very effective. Mortch Guard unit, do they have actually the ability to add an additional one? No. Okay, anyway, but 9 rally rolls, very solid. We love that. That means you can bring a lot of those Mortch Guard back. And now if we take into account the fact that we can reduce some damage that's coming in, also we can return more in the hero phase with the battle formation, we start to get some sort of concept of what this army could be like. But a nice thing is that because you can now roll 9 rally dice, some of your larger models, you might also be able to get a good rally roll on and return a larger model back, more than you normally would be able to do when you're only rolling 6 dice, or more reliably do it as well, which I think is interesting. Okay, So then we've got the Boneshaper ability. In your hero phase, for 1 command point with no dice roll, if this unit is not in combat, you can pick a friendly Mortech unit that's been destroyed and set up a replacement unit with half the number of models from the target unit, rounding up wholly within 12 inches. We love that. That's really good. That's a super strong ability, and it really showcases the understanding that your Mortech Guard, even though they have got if you reinforce them, they can have 20 health with a 3-up thanks to Katakros and a 5-up thanks to multiple different spaces. Means that still there are units that can just plow through them and kill them. Putting 10 more on the board after that is pretty good. It's only going to cost you a command point. It means you can also be much more aggressive with pushing 1 unit up to hold an objective, make your opponent charge into it, maybe bait them onto it after that unit's been destroyed. Put another 10 on the board somewhere else. That's good. Maybe for tactics as well in the future. Could be quite interesting. So it's a general upgrade to the Boneshaper, and you obviously are more likely to take this Boneshaper if you are planning to take a lot of Mortech Guard. Although I think because of the Legion Quartermaster ability and the fact that you're already a wizard, I don't think it means that you necessarily are bringing this if you're only taking Mortech Guard. I think that the rally means that you maybe will take it anyway because it's also a wizard. So pretty great upgrade for that model. Definitely an upgrade more than an alternative. Next up, we got Mortech Guard. Mortech Guard is a unit of 10 models, reinforceable up to a unit of 20. It only costs 120 points, which is pretty nice. Now, they're a bit garbage in combat. 2 attacks each, 3s and 4s with no rend. But the first thing to talk about, I guess, is that unlike the other version of the Mortech Guard, who have anti-charge +1 rend, these have got anti-cavalry +1 rend, which means you can stack the anti-charge, which we could get from either the battle formation above or from an order, I'm pretty certain, to make it so that they're rend 2. So a unit of these on an objective, we could cast a spell to make them have 3 attacks or give them crits on 5s, either way. That means 3s, 4s, rend 2, damage 1, pretty nice. Now, the Shield of the Legion ability, which you get for this version of Mortech Guard, is once per phase army, a reaction to a friendly Ossiarch Bonereaper, War Machine monster, or Mortison unit within this unit's combat range that was targeted by an attack ability. For the rest of that phase, subtract 1 from the rend characteristic of weapons for attacks that target that friendly unit. So this is a nice way of having a unit of Mortech Guard really buff up other units, maybe that get targeted in a variety of different ways to make it so that they can ignore some rend. And because you've got good armor saves, this means it's really helping you survive. So this unit of Mortech is up against the OG unit of Mortech, who have got all the same stats. However, they do have the ability called Shield Wall, where if they haven't used a move ability, then they can ignore the positives and negatives to their save. So they basically get a 4-up ethereal. Now, obviously, with someone like Katakros, who adds +1 to your save, if they don't move, that means they're not going to get that bonus from it. And when you're locked in combat, you're not going to get that bonus either. However, I really like having a 4-up unrendable save. There's some good rend in the game. Rend 2, rend 3. There's some really, really good rend in the game. And I feel this is far more effective than what we've seen in on the other War Scroll. But the War Scroll is, the other War Scroll, specifically the Ghyran one, is more punchy because of its ability to have the anti-cavalry and also stack that with anti-charge. So really it's an argument between the both, and it's very close, which I think is a good kind of place to summarize this update, in that there isn't anything here that's necessarily leagues better, apart from the Boneshaper, than the OG. It doesn't really make you be able to build lots of different army lists or really like expand out the kind of limited roster that you have, but it does mean that you could probably lean into Mortech Guard more. That's kind of what it feels like the whole the whole update is saying, which I think a lot of Bonereaper's players would quite like doing. I know there's a lot of Bonereaper's players who also really love the fact that they can get into this army at quite an elite standpoint. You can get 4 Morghast Archi, you can get Arcan or Katakros, and already you're looking at like over 1,000 points or close to 1,000 points. That's a good start. It's not a massive paint project. It's a really nice army to paint up. If you're doing a bunch of Death Riders, it's very different. So this is a fun elite army that's got the ability to do a lot of recursion as well. So I think this is an okay update. It's maybe not thrilling. It doesn't feel very sexy, especially like what we saw with the Gnash Tooth earlier. I thought that was more fun. The Skaven one where we got to build a bunch of Doomflayers. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you to the Twitch chat who've been hanging out with me while we do this. I'll see you soon.